Hello. Welcome back to Adobe Live, everyone. Today, I'm joined by the one and only Tony Harmer, and we're going to be going through some Adobe Animate. Uh, Tony, welcome. Welcome back to
Hey,
Adobe Live. How you doing?
I am doing good, Joe. It's good to see you, man. Good to see you. Look like
Yeah,
you've caught
definitely.
some sun as well while you're out there.
A
Looking
little
really,
bit, yeah.
yeah.
If you've been following, I think I've been doing streams weekly now for the last 3 weeks, and I've been in a different hotel room each time. Currently, I'm on the island of Koh Chang in Thailand, and
Nice.
I'm kind of in a bit of a treehouse looking place. Tell you what, it's filled with a lot of craftsmanship on timber work and carpentry. It's actually beautiful.
Nice.
Um, and you are in your studio space, ready
I am.
to rock and or roll.
I am.
Yeah,
Yes.
and we've got plenty of people in the chat as well. So if you'd like to come and join us, we are over on Behance, going through and taking your questions as we run through these 90 minutes of Adobe Animate. So welcome, Sawadee Ka, to Linda, Kirsty, Jelana, Sandrine, Michelle, Stefan, Tony, Sean, Mike, scrolling through, Stuart, Caroline, Oliver, and Minal. Plenty of people. And yeah, likewise, if you do want to come and join the chat, come over to behance.net and we are on Adobe Live. Or if you want to carry on watching on YouTube, or if you're watching this on the replay, then that is all good and dandy.
Cool.
So, Tony, what are we running through with Animate today?
Well, we'll just have a bit of a recap on the session we did last week, actually, and cover off some of that. So if I just swap out now to that, we've got no Tim today, by the way. He's not here.
Yeah,
He's in the
it's
air. He's doing
Tony
flying.
running the ship. We could do anything.
We
We could
could go crazy.
change the
Oh.
password.
They'll be all excited because they're streaming for off every day tomorrow from 12 till 5, I think it is, every day. So they'll be doing that. But yeah, we could have all sorts of mischief, Joe. But I think we'd
Yeah,
best behave. You
yeah,
know, what would it be in our jobs and all?
yeah. Well, what's brilliant is that neither of us technically work for Adobe, so
This is true. This is true.
there's a lot of trust going on here.
There is a lot of trust.
Yeah,
We're generally pretty well, for all our talk of naughtiness, we generally are pretty well behaved.
yeah,
So let me just recap then on what we did last time in creating this very simple, very, very primitive animation, but still nonetheless fun. What I'm going to do is just quickly do a test movie on this. Now, hopefully, this will go ahead and launch in the correct window. We'll soon find out. So let's just have a quick look. There we go. So we're now seeing the whole thing just playing out just there. Okay, so we've got this car gently bouncing up and down, and we've created the illusion of the wheels turning by making them slightly non-circular. Okay, so we did
nice.
that, and we used some of the different drawing tools in Animate. And last time, Joe, I had to really, really avoid using, because this came from another product. And I
Okay,
had to really, really avoid using the word associated with that other product as much as possible. I mean, it's all right if it was contextual, like
yeah,
saying when this product was, insert name of word here, that's fine. But if
yeah,
I referred to it as that, I penalised myself by saying every time I said it, I would donate £100 to the Disaster Emergency Committee's Ukraine appeal. Yeah, and unfortunately, they got all of my savings for my next toy. I got the £300 that was going towards my nice new amp. Yeah, has gone out of the window because that's what I had to donate after the stream. So I'm going to try and avoid that. Mind you, I haven't made the same pledge just yet. We'll see how I go on. Okay, sorry.
Well, I want to say actually, Adobe Animate. I think I was having to think of this earlier. I think it is one of, if not the only, Adobe product that is so simply named that it says what it does.
Mm,
I think the closest is Illustrator,
yeah,
but everything else is kind of an obscure name, like
It is.
unless you're a gymnast using Acrobat all the time. But
Yep.
even so, it's yeah.
Yep. I used to say to people I was an Acrobat trainer, and they'd look at me and think, really? But, you know, hey ho.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yes, you're right. Animate does exactly what it says on the tin. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going to close up this document here, go back to the home screen that we have, and I'm going to choose a new document type. And actually, Joe, in store for you today, especially for you, and if you can,
Yeah.
I want you to remind me if I don't, or if I get carried away with what I'm doing. Remind me just towards the top of that hour, yeah, that I've got a treat that's just for you. And a reason why you might investigate actually using Animate.
Okay.
I'll give you a clue. It's got some InDesign in it.
Ooh. Right.
So, you know, so you'll like it. Okay. So I'm going to create a brand new document here. Now, I'm actually unsure as to what type I actually want to do this in, because I tried one out in full HD. I thought that was perhaps a bit excessive. We've got all of these different profiles here that we can use with various different intents that are set up, because Animate can publish to so many different things. Now, I've got just standard HD, which I think I'm going to go with 720p just here for this one. I don't really need to do full HD here. And as the things that I'm working with, the vectors, doesn't really matter anyway. So that's what I'm going to go with, and I'm going to hit create. Okay, so it tells me, oh, one thing I do want to change here is the frame rate, because that's down to 12. I think I'm going to double that frame rate. I think I'm going to make it 24 frames a second. Do you know what? I'm gonna see that 24 and raise it to 30, because it's a nice easy number to work with. And then I'm going to hit create. Okay, so I don't need to worry about the language type associated with it. You might have noticed it said ActionScript 3 under there. The other option would have been HTML5 and JavaScript.
Yeah.
Okay, but it doesn't really matter for what I'm doing here at all. So I'm going to make sure that I can see the whole canvas. So I've got my little shortcuts. You're too young to remember something called Dusty Bin. There used to be a character called Dusty Bin, and there was this little finger thing that the host of this show did. I can't remember what the name of the show was. But it used to go 3, 2, 1. This thing with his fingers. I was just flicking my fingers around. I wasn't doing any numbers, but those are the shortcuts to actually change the view here inside of Animate. Okay, you can go ahead and change that. So we'll start out with doing some just refreshing drawing, so that people who didn't see the last episode don't feel entirely left out and lost at sea just here. So I'm just going to draw a couple of things out. So we learnt last time about the drawing engine inside of Animate and how cool it is. I'm just going to select this and do Command 3. Okay, that would be Control 3, of course, on Windows. And that zooms me into the selected object. Command 2 makes everything fit inside the screen. Command 1, okay, puts it at 100% on there. Okay, so back to Command 3. And let's have a look at this. When I click on it, it gets covered in this array of dots. And there's a separation here inside of Animate between the strokes and the fills. And in fact, the strokes, wherever they meet a corner, become separate things. Okay, so they're just overlaying each other. So there's lots of flexibility.
Splitting up the band.
To be had. It's cool. Look. See, you want to draw things really, really easy to do that. If you want to make interesting shapes, let me just nick some of that out of there. Okay, so I've just cut that away. I'm going to take this stroke part up here. Okay, and then just go ahead and bend this around. Then if I want to, I can go ahead and bring that down and join it up to this one. You see that? Dunk. There we go. And then if I want to, I can pull these out. Do all manner of things to twist it around. And that little gap I've got there, just go like that, and it's gone. See?
Wow.
It is
malleable vectors.
Really good. Absolutely. It's like playing with chicken wire. It's crazy. And the other thing that I didn't show last time, so if I just go ahead here and go to my sub-selection tool, that's like the direct selection tool in Illustrator, you can see that this is a path, just like that. You can bend the path around. You can also convert it. So with my pen tool here, I've got a convert anchor point tool. I could then click on this anchor point. And with my sub-selection tool, I would have access to all of the handles associated with that. So you get the best of both worlds. You can do an awful lot with it. An awful lot. There you are. So that's where we left it off last time. This is starting to look a bit like a fish.
Yeah, I was thinking it's almost a bit of a whale. If
it is, yeah, it is a bit,
a bit of a beluga.
We could, well, I mean, this is the thing. It's like playing with plasticine,
yeah.
Right? Because if I went here, or other brands of of funny clay, just in case, just have a look at how I could kind of pull this around. Now, if I need to make cuts or anything to it, that's easy enough to do. You've just seen me take a chunk out of one of those. Or, again, if I went back and decided, I wanted to work with a path, I could do that. Or even introduce another object. Let's try it that way. Let's just undo the steps I did there, because I kind of liked that shape. What I'm going to do is get an ellipse here. Fish don't feature, by the way, in today's animation. I've just got to tell you. Well, they could. Right.
Well, a bit of a cameo happening.
It is ever so much of a cameo, yeah. It is. Right, what I'm going to do is I am going to double click this to select it. I need my regular selection tool for that. Okay, so I'm going to select that and drag this over the top like so. Now, interesting things happen now because this has segmented. If I go like that, you can see that it's now one shape, which is kind of cool. And I could bend that around like so, and just start to pull all of this into shape. It's a bit more of a shark fin than I'd actually hoped for initially, but it's all good. I could get my pen tool on that, so let me just get my sub-selection tool, zoom in on here. Zooming isn't dynamic like that in Illustrator. In fact, I've even got a point just there I could play with actually. So I might do that. I might just get hold of those handles, hold down the Option key, maybe drag those like that. It's starting to look a little bit like a fluke now. That's not me saying, ooh, I've been lucky to do that. It's me using whale terminology. That's what the name is.
Whale?
Sorry?
You speak whale?
No. In short, but no, that's what that part of a whale's fin is called. Actually, just so you know, it's called a fluke.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, very interesting.
There you go. We give all the tips away here on Adobe Live, even those you don't want particularly. They're just there. But look at that. See how quickly it is for me to do that. I could draw another rectangle just up here. We could play with that. So I've got a free transform tool here, Q. So if I select this object, let me just double click it. So I've selected both the fill and the stroke. This is something Illustrator could do with. Can you see that? Just by using the section between the points there, I can quickly shear that shape. I don't need a shear tool to do it. I could just do it. Come on, Illustrator team. You've robbed off with so much other stuff.
Whilst you're questioning of what's in and not in products, we've actually got a question here from Michelle asking, do you know if Adobe has any plans to add the freeform gradient tool into Animate in the near future?
I do not. I don't know that. And to be perfectly honest, I'm really sorry, Michelle, but even if I did, I really wouldn't be allowed to say.
That's a good point. Yep, that's very true.
That's one of those things you kind of, it's sort of a big deal for software companies, right? To launch things at an appropriate time and to use appropriate language and all that stuff around it. And so, I don't know, Michelle. But what you can do is if it's something you want in there, and I don't see why it couldn't be in there because it is HTML compliant, which is like the main thing. In here, then go to user voice and make your feelings known.
Absolutely. Sean's just put in the chat NDAs at the ready. If we can get everyone to sign one of these who's watching
all of you sign an NDA. In fact, all of
the replay.
we just put it into the product, right? And
Yeah.
it's so you've all launched Animate now, and I'll say, right, go to help, sign NDA, and then we go. The
answer is no.
the answer's no. Yeah, exactly. I can't tell you because.
Yeah.
But I don't know why I've persisted in drawing this fish, but I kind of have. Here's another thing, right, that I like. Now, you don't use Illustrator that much, do you? Or do you? I can't remember.
Yes, Illustrator was actually the first Adobe app that I learnt way back in 2004.
Yeah.
But I must admit, I don't use it as much anymore. Icon design is about the most that I do with it now.
Okay.
But otherwise, yeah, it probably was my favorite for a good 10, 12 years or so.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, it still is mine for perhaps good reason. But there are things when I sometimes see things. I'm just going to bring this into view just a little bit more. There are some things. So Live Paint came from Flash as it was then, right? Live Paint came from there. The Shape Builder is an extension of the Live Paint toolset, so that came from there. Gradient annotators came from there to a degree, not directly, but it's all based on an acquisition. So it was not like it belonged to somebody else and they took it. It was they acquired it, and then dealt with it. But there are some things that I just think, why doesn't Illustrator have this? And their free transform tool, the free transform tool in Animate, that is. Let me show you something about this tool, right? So if you were using the free transform in Illustrator, you would have a little HUD down the side that you would tap on to change the modes to like perspective and all of those different things, and free distort. Now, free transform in Animate works like this, right? So that is transforming at the moment around the object's center point. Yeah, if I need to change that for any reason, right, I can hold down the Option key and change it like so. Okay, or the Alt
that's
key
inverted to say
to
how
Illustrator.
Photoshop works.
It is. Yeah, it's the opposite. Right, so I can do that. I can also, and this is in common with Illustrator, right? I can rotate around by just taking my cursor outside of one of the corners here, like so. So you see the cursor changes to that curve. But this is where it then gets different, right? Because if I go to any point between the grid there and then press, then I can shear like so. Yeah. Furthermore, if I hold down the Command key, right, Control on Windows, I can then go to a corner and start affecting distortions. See that? Without having to swap tools or click a HUD.
And if you were to go back to shearing now, what would happen?
It's just going to take that shape as that and shear it.
Ah, I see.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. But I do, I do like that. And additionally, you've got things as you would expect in Photoshop here, the things from Photoshop, like if you've got a transform selected and you wanted to flip it horizontally, then you can do that. That's what I think. It's got a lot going for it. There are things that I think there should be perhaps a shade more of in in Illustrator. You can see how just pulling this out. Now, when I pull this to a certain point, did you just see that snap? Just there. That means the corner has now been replaced, or it is in line with the shape, right? So I can go ahead and then, I can pull it out like so. But it just does all of these intelligent things. There you go. Just made a nice curve out of that. So if I zoom out a touch and then make that bigger, let's double click on it so I get the stroke as well. And then I can go and get rid of those. Sorry.
Very, very flexible to just kind of play, really, which is what you want. You want that fluidity to just experiment. Yeah, that's very cool.
It's I mean, this used this at one time in the early noughties. I've used this product since 1995. In the early nought, it was when it had yet another name from there. And bizarrely, just bear with me 1 second. I'm just going to disappear off the camera for 1 second or two.
We will fill this with some momentary music.
Bizarrely, you were
Just
counting
filling
the
some
seconds,
music.
weren't you? It was like
No,
4 seconds. Yeah, you were. I'm just going to pop us back to big camera just at the minute. This is my original manual from Future Splash Animator,
right.
which is where all of this stems from. It's got my old address. I lived in Somerset back then.
My home county.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, indeed. But
War.
yeah, when I was on last time, I thought, oh man, I should have put that manual nearer, and then I couldn't find it. And then the other day, I turned around and it was on a shelf to my right. So I thought, oh, I'll put it on my desk, and I forgot. But yeah, these are all, it's been around a long time, and I used to work with this all the time back in the day. Used to be in and out of Brizzle.
Yep. This was actually the first place I started making websites was in Flash.
Yeah.
I actually learnt to make websites there first, and then it was a bit of a weird sort of place because you're effectively making a clickable interface on a movie timeline, and it always felt like it was a bit of a hack. And then eventually got into development and started doing it myself properly. Then everything kind of changed, and
It did.
the world transitioned.
It did, and it was it was interesting at the time. But you can see here how and the other thing I showed last time, Joe, and I don't know how the chat if they're all right with me just doing this sort of level of recap. I'm sure they're fine. But one of the things I showed last time is doing frame by frame animation, which is how it started out and still used in lots of things for frame by frame. So if I'd wanted to go ahead and add a new frame or a keyframe, I can do that in a number of different ways. My preferred way is like F5 for a keyframe and F6 because I like the F keys on my keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
And they're making a change, and I've got onion skinning, so I can turn that on. So that controls just here.
Nice.
And let's zoom in a touch. And now if I start to make a change, so let's go ahead and grab maybe this shape here and pull this around a bit. I could have, well, you can see there that the shape is behind it. I'm trying to find something that hasn't gone so terribly wrong just there. Let's go ahead and make this a bit bigger and go the other way with this one.
So this is where that malleable sort of format really works for it. Yeah.
I'm going to turn onion skinning off and just flick between those two states.
Nice. Jibber jabber.
Jibber jabber. Do you know, it's starting to look a bit dolphin when we're in Maddie territory right now. So perhaps a good idea to not do that. Right. Anyway, those are the things that we did. We did loads of the great stuff about the Animate drawing engine and how great it is, and I still think it's great, just to be perfectly clear. So I thought what we'd do this time, we'll do another animation that involves, so we're still going to build some assets using some of those fab features from the drawing engine, just as we did last time, but we're also going to do a couple of other things around that as well. And as I said, I've got my nice surprise for you. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to create a spacecraft because I like them.
Yep.
Which is as good a reason as any for me to draw one. So, and I'm going to use all of that good stuff just there to go ahead and draw the shape I'm after. That works pretty well. And keeping it simple. Let's go to my properties, although I could have just as easily used the swatches. I think spacecrafts would probably be silver.
Yes, I was just thinking that actually when you were doing it red, I was thinking, why is it that this idea of science fiction is always so shiny and chromy? Interesting aspect.
Well, I mean, I guess because you know, in the vacuum of space, you've got to have tight engineering to just like make sure that you, you don't just explode.
Yeah, I suppose all the dirt from things just floats away, doesn't it?
Yeah,
So
it does.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, just oil off your hands. There we go. See ya.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely. But no, you are right to pick up on that. Actually, it's kind of interesting the way we arrive at these different things. So I need the ink bottle. So the ink bottle applies strokes to things that don't have them. There we go. And I still don't want that one on the side because I'm going to do something else with it. I'm going to double click the strokes here. So now I can change the style of that stroke if I want to do. Here's a few styles. These aren't the ones I'm going to use, but I'm just showing you that they exist. They're like so. So you can have those. You can also change the width, or have a width profile, sorry, and change the width just up here. Okay, there we go. Something like that. We're going to do it old school, cartoony school for it. So double click that, select the whole thing, zoom out a tad, and then Q for that. Right click, arrange, and flip horizontal. Sorry, transform, flip horizontal, not arrange, flip horizontal. And then just bring that back. Boomf. There you go. Nice. Now that's one shape. It's just so easy. So easy to draw. And let's actually get a line in there. So N for the line tool. And let's draw a line across like so. Now this one could do with a bit of a width profile. Let's pop one on just to make it slightly more interesting.
Jazzy, yeah.
We've
got a question
Yeah.
here from Stuart. Is there any crossover from Animate to character Animate? For example, if you wanted to add a simple background animation on your character, i.e. butterflies or a bird on your shoulder, any crossover?
I don't know whether you do. I actually don't know, to be perfectly honest. I mean, the thing is that where both of those meet, where character animator and animate meet is in After Effects. They can both work with After Effects. I seem to remember there is an import module for Animate. You might have to have a peek for me. You might have to just take a look if you wouldn't mind, because I just do not know. Off the top of my head, I don't know. I seem to remember there is, but I'm not entirely sure. But anyway.
Have a see.
Yes. So now I'm going to draw an oval. See, it's kept the stroke properties from the last time, which doesn't bother me at all because I'm just going to get rid of the stroke anyway. Then I am going to give this another fill. So I'm going to make this, I think it should be sort of an aqua-ish colour, sorry, a tealish colour, something like that. And I might actually change the opacity of that at some point, right, which is something I can do just here. Stapler accident finger, just like Photoshop. There we go. So now I've got a semi-transparent ellipse. I want to grab a chunk of that, like so. Then I'm going to transform that. You can see I'm from the very, very old school of spaceship design.
Yep.
From the very much Warner Brothers.
Well, it depends what manual you've got. I'm sure you've got a book on spaceship design behind you somewhere.
Probably. Well, I've got the NASA style manual just behind me. So
Close
that's
enough,
there. Yeah. I have. Yeah, I have got a decent library. It has to be said. I have. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to select all of these bits because I would like them to be nicely aligned. I'm going to get my align panel. I am not enabling align to stage at the moment because I want them to align to each other. Then I can just bring that down into place like so. Perfect. And know that it's good. Now, later on, at a later point, I could probably add some space cats in there because we desperately need some space cats. I'm going to free transform this stroke as well. In fact, I probably could No, I'll just do it this way. I'm going to transform and flip vertically. There we go. Right, oof. And then just bring that back in. Something like that, but just a bit wider. I don't know why I've gone all symmetrical, but the thing is I just have. So, hey-ho.
There's something quite pleasing about working in symmetry versus making something and then making that finished product symmetrical.
Mm.
I don't know, it kind of feels quite mathematical in approach when you're doing it from scratch.
I do tend to work in symmetry at least to start off with, and then I use various tools to change that symmetry, to tweak it and add in variations. I do that a lot, actually. I'm just going to change that stroke color because I want it to be more of a highlight than. There we go. That adds a little bit of dimension to it.
Alexander said, I can say in the next Photoshop version, there'll be 4D inside. So, for example, if you draw a whale, you actually smell the sea. I'm not sure if that's breaking NDA there, but
yeah, I can't see where that could go wrong.
Got water up my nose.
Help! Oh no. It might be a good idea now for me to turn this into a symbol because I'm going to need it as a symbol. So I've made sure that I've selected the lot, and that is one thing you really, really do need to pay attention to in Animate, is making sure that you select the whole thing. You can't be lazy with your marquees because if you even nick a fraction off like that, that gets left away. So now I've done that, I'm going to tap, I could tap F8, but what I'm going to do instead, because I have artwork, I'm going to modify it. Okay, I'm just trying to give links that people will remember when they try and do this. So I've got artwork, so I want to modify that and convert it to a symbol. So we'll call this one saucer, like so.
Of course we're going to name it because, plenty of people wouldn't name it.
And that is then entirely their time they're wasting when it's going, and is it symbol 1 or symbol 8 that is that thing? Is it? Yeah, auto naming, not a good plan in any form of interactive or animation project. Totally got to have that. I think also in the grid of 9, I am going to go ahead and click on the bottom registration point. It kind of makes more sense to me. Don't need any of the other stuff here because we're not coding. Okay, so, and that's fine. Also, movie clip I think is going to be okay for this at the moment. So I'm going to hit OK, and now that's converted. So we can go ahead now and add some more stuff to it. So I've double clicked on it. If you look at the breadcrumb trail at the top here, it tells me that I am currently working inside of Saucer, which is inside of scene 1, just there. So we've got this nice trail to work with. I'm going to lock this layer. I'm now going to add another layer where we can do more stuffs with it. Okay, and oh man, I've just sort of something. This is where I get into trouble because I kind of think as I'm going along, I sort of change my plans and think, oh yeah, I could suddenly do that. And then I throw something in and the next thing I know is it's time to stop.
That's the power of flexible editing though, right?
It is. Yeah. It
allows you to really just go with your heart's desire.
Yeah. Oh no, but oh man, just resist the urge to do this. I want this to be sort of a light around the outside. I think I'm going to change this out for a gradient like so. Then I am going to go ahead and
HAL 3000 going on here.
It is it? This isn't the door. You don't want the doors open, Dave. Oh man. Now I bet that Kirsty has put something in the chat because the HAL computer from 2001 used to appear a lot in mine and Dave's podcast. Apart from, it was Adobe Sensei, but with the voice of the HAL 2000
nice.
Or HAL whatever. Was it? I don't know what the number was for it, but the HAL computer.
Yeah.
On the end there, yeah. We used to have that. So, It was all good fun. So I've jumped into the color panel now. It tells me I'm working with a radial gradient. I've got some fab options that we showed in the last one, which you can still catch on demand. So watch that if you want to and find some of this fabulous stuff. Okay, and then we're going to draw that. Actually, I'm not going to deviate from the plan just because I'd feel like I'm being really bad. So
HAL 9000.
9,000 was it?
Yeah. So we had the early models. That was the beta version.
Yeah. The sample, the factory sample.
No wonder it was so bad.
Gosh.
Did you say the doors or the windows open, mate?
So good. So good. Right. And I'm going to do one more of those. Because, you know, any self-respecting spacecraft should have, you know, lights, because important. You know, there might be other vehicles hovering around. You don't want to be presenting a hazard.
Yep.
In space. Just there. I'm actually going to group these. Create a group of them. Just drag another one out like so, and bring that in. Now, if I'd have decided to do such a thing, what I could have done here, I could have made a movie clip so the lights flashed. If by any miracle I get the opportunity to do that later on, then I think I will. I think I could do with a few more lights. I'm just eyeballing.
Do you have the same alignment tools as things like Illustrator?
You do. Yeah, so you've got
spacing?
controls. That's a super good question, actually. So let's go for the alignment just here. You can see that you've got the options here to change their spacing,
just
so to distribute
my eye
them.
Starts twitching at the...
Yeah, I know that the irregularity of the whole thing. But yeah, no, you've got spacing options just here. Unlike in Illustrator, you don't need a key object to do that, although it makes total sense in Illustrator to have key objects, by the way. That is one thing that could perhaps go the other way. You know, to specify a key object would be good. Now, those lights, bizarrely, I've just double-clicked out to the main scene. Not that I want to pun it up, but they do actually look completely alien on that ship, but it's fine. Naming this layer would be a good idea, so we'll call this one saucer, like so. It's too big just at the minute. It's going to get to about that big. And there we are. Right, I'm also going to add another layer, drag that down to the bottom of the stack. Although, actually, I've just thought of something else I could do here. I will drag that down to the bottom of the stack, but I'm actually going to create... Let's just do stars just there. I'm not going to use a clever trick for this, but I am going to select the document so nothing is selected. I'm going to change the stage color to black. Okay, you can now see the advantage of that semi-transparent doohickey just there.
So you just called this a stage. That means we didn't go to space. It was
We're
on the
not.
stage.
Yeah, it is just a stage. I know. It's like a pantomime. It's like a panto. I'm just going to dot in. I'm just going to use my brush here and a near white color with no stroke. Just here, just to make some dots. In fact, I'm going to go for that one. I am going to use white. And then I'm just going to use my brush here just to dab in a few things in random places. This is working with pressure, so that's why I can get some of those smaller things going on. There we are. Just so we've got something that looks a bit space-like. Looks a bit lonely up there. There we are. Good. That's nice. Now we're going to work on, so I'm going to lock this layer. Temporarily, I'm going to lock the saucer layer. I'm going to add another layer. You'll notice it adds above the current one called planet. Like so. And then we is going to build ourselves a planet. And it's the planet of my own home world. Rectangular. which I'd like to say is where I come from, but it's not. However, that's well, actually, we'll use that there. And I'm going to actually copy that out for a second. I'm going to do insert new symbol, which I'm going to call planet, like so. There you go. This is in the new symbol environment. I could zoom out and 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 out. Just there. There are no boundaries to it, so it's super good. Right. So I'm going to paste down that rectangle because it is going to be a feature of this. Okay, so that rectangle that I've got just there, I'm actually going to turn that into yet another movie clip. But first, we're going to style it up a little bit. So we're just going to give this sort of a base colour. Something like that is good. Excellent. And could do being a bit darker. I could use the colour panel actually and do that. But, okay. I'm going to get my lasso tool, L for the lasso tool, and I am going to just sweep across and backwards like that to make a shape. I'll open my swatches panel, so I'll just use that here. Add in some colour just there. And just here. I should have left the swatches persistent, but it doesn't matter. I think we need another tiny one just up there.
We've got the makings of like one of those sand jars.
We have.
Type of thing that my mum loves. You know, just weird ornaments, like
Like sand jars.
Things. Yeah, just like, you know, hippie stuff around the house.
Is your mum a bit of a hippie?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah?
It's fine. She doesn't watch the stream, but she knows it. All sorts of colours everywhere.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's cool.
No. I mean,
good.
It's just don't spill the sand into the carpet on your bedroom, like I've done before. And
oh dear.
Yeah,
right.
There for years.
Oh. I'm going to create a nested symbol just here. Okay, so I'm going to right click this. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to do modify, convert to symbol. There we go. And I'm going to call this, let's call it sand jar.
Yep.
Why not? It's a good
Space sand.
name for it. Space sand.
Oh, could you imagine spilling one of those in space?
Oh man, you would never. Isn't there a Simpsons episode where Homer Simpson had some ant? He was on board the International Space Station.
Yeah, and they get into
he
the
smashed the
electronics.
thing with the ant farm in it. So good. Right, I'm trying to think about how I'm going to resolve something just here, and I think I'm going to cheat like so. No, going to undo that. I'm going to go over here. I am going to flip this horizontally like that, because I want it to sort of match up. I've got some smoothing there to do, mind. And then zoom in on this and then do some resolving. I could actually do that resolving, thinking about it, with the paintbrush, just to make life a lot easier. There we go. Oh, why isn't that working? It should. Not targeted. I also need to now check my brush mode. My brush mode is set to paints behind. That's why. So I need to set that to paint normal. And then come in and just do this.
So you were just correcting the back of the sand jar.
Correcting
True
the back
craftsman.
of the sand jar. I was. I know. Fixing it.
Yeah.
I was fixing it. Very good. I'm going to crank up the smoothing as well on here. So there you go. These are all options that I have. What I want here is for the ends to remain reflected. Okay, right. The same, so that I can see them. I'm going to target this shape, and hopefully my brush Okay, if I have to change it, I have to change it. I should have been able to pick that colour. Oh, actually, I prefer that anyway. Why did that change? There we go. So let's go ahead and paint some stuff in here.
Nicely done.
There we go. It should switch over, but it's not switching over. So let's eyedropper that. So we've got it. And then back to the brush and just brush these in. Very flexible. I'm not worried about the nicks and whatever that are appearing inside of that. Da, 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 da.
Caroline has just reminded me in the chat. May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you.
It is the day. And a fellow Adobe Live host and creator, Robert Hunitsky, has got his own project coming out, which I'm very interested in seeing.
It's on YouTube today.
Yeah. I've personally not seen it yet, but Tony, have you watched it?
I have watched it more than once.
There we go.
It's very good.
Yeah.
And our very own MLS Strait is in it as well.
Yep. So all sorts of cameos and appearances.
Okay, I didn't change the registration point when I did this, so I'm actually going to do that now. And this is something I can do with Align to Stage. So I'm going to choose Align Right. Now you can see the registration point just here. I also want to align this vertically center. I would like to say that I've got the link ready to paste into the chat, but unfortunately I do not.
I can try and find it.
Just at the moment. It's E11.
Yeah, Star Wars fan film, right?
Yes. Yes, indeed. Nice. I'm going to draw another shape just here. Okay, that's good.
I don't know if you can hear that, but outside, all of the insects have gone kind of crazy for the sunset dip. You know, there's that weird phenomenon where they all just kind of swarm.
Yeah.
Picking up on the mic at all?
No, not hearing it.
No? Okay.
Not hearing it. It's
good to know. That's good. I always worry about things like that. You know, it's just little ambience and background, and microphones are just so sensitive. And of course, I can hear everything perfectly through here. I'm like, where's it getting lost in the airwaves?
What I've done here is I want to subdivide this circle. So I've drawn a line above this circle. I'm going to deselect Align to Stage and then choose to align those horizontally to the center. Okay, and what I could do, just to avoid bending this line, is just use my Shift key to make it move faster, and then just nudge that down using my arrow keys. Because once I've done that, this segments. I'm using the arrow keys just to move these things around now.
Mm-hmm.
So that I have everything the way I want it to be, apart from the colour. So we need something that's going to be maybe more like that, I think. Yeah, that'll work. So that is good. And then I'm going to go over to the other side and do the same thing just there. Still not done, because this has got to be a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So
just
what I can do,
a reminder for those who might be joining, what are you making? What's
I am making a planet right now, but I'm making it in flat.
Yeah. So we've got some flat earthers happening. Although this isn't Earth, this is rectangular, right? Is that what you were calling it?
It is rectangular, yeah. Well, no, it's not. It's not really rectangular. It's no, that was just me being silly. That was just my daftness. Now, here's a trick. I'm going to add a new layer to this, and I am simply going to draw a line like so. Okay, and I'm going to make that line a clearly visible color so that I don't forget it's there, because it will come in very, very useful. And I'm going to bring that into line. Can you see how that works? I can just bring that into line with that shape, and then just bring this down there. Now with Animate, the clue is with the cursor. Notice that when I move it, if I go just to the edge, sometimes I'll get a bendy cursor, but here I've got the move icon, which means it knows it's ready to move. I can bring that down like so. Okay, just on this layer. I can hit that if I want to remove any extra bits. Let's lock the layer underneath so we don't get any accidents here, like so. And then I'm just going to just take some chunks of that away, like that. The reason I'm putting this line on this separate layer, okay, calling it marker, calling this texture just here, is because I want something that tells me exactly when I'm at the halfway point. So I locked that layer there, so I can now unlock that, lock the other one, and then just bring this in. There we go. Good. Right, got my texture. So that is sand jar, which is now ready to go. I'm going to go back to planet, which has an instance of sand jar on it. I'm going to determine over how long I want this to go, and I'm thinking quite a long time. So I'm going to make this 10 seconds. So I'll go to frame 300. Just there, I'm going to drop in a keyframe, F6, like so. And then I'm going to move this along.
Clever. So this is how we're simulating rotation, right?
Rotation, yes. It is exactly that. I'm going to go back to the first frame here. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to right click. I want to make this as a classic tween. I'm then going to go to my rotate options. Sorry, no, I'm not rotating it. I'm just going to move the thing. So hopefully that tween should have that move up to that point. Wicked. That is working really, really well. However, doesn't look much like a planet at the moment. So, need to change something. Let's go ahead and add another layer. So we'll rename this one here. Texture motion. Then on this layer, I'm going to add a shape like that. Then I'm going to turn this layer into a mask. There
we go.
You'll notice the layer underneath has become masked. And now that should loop nicely when it's applied. We can go back out to the main movie where we've got our planet layer. Okay, but we haven't got anything in it. The way I can tell, if I just make my timeline really big at the moment, and just come away from that just a second, or hopefully you'll just have a look just there. But when you see a frame that has a hollow circle inside of it, it means there's no content there. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
So
lights are on, but no one's home.
Lights are on, but no one's home. Just like me, as soon as it gets to Friday, or in the case of this week, this afternoon.
The lights are on and everyone's home.
That's it. Right. So this is the advantage of layering, of naming things, because I can now bring them in like so. Okay. And it would perhaps be a good idea for us to test this one. So I'm going to do that. Now, as this is something that's supporting ActionScript, I can just hold down Command and hit return, or Control return, and it will launch me a test movie inside of the Animate environment. So there we are. We can just check.
Nice.
And once I know that that is working properly, which it looks like it is.
Like there was...
There you go.
One one frame of a glitch at the end.
There might be a tiny. Well, that's because it's completely there. Now, what you should do is
Yeah.
back off by
Trim
one
at one,
amount of
yeah.
movement, just to do that. But for the time being, that's just something I can fix more towards the end. But what I can do is close that. I can go back to the sand jar symbol, double click on that. I can now turn off the visibility for the marker layer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's test that again. And now we won't see the marker, but you can see the point of having the marker there that we've got.
Nice.
Oh, right, okay. Fine.
Update, save.
No, it should be automatic. What I'll do is there's more than one way to do that, and that's delete that particular marker.
Yeah.
Now I know it'll work, yeah. There we go. So now we won't see the dot.
Nice.
Or we will see the dot, but we won't see the line.
It's magic like this that I always love about creativity and especially animation and other things. It is all smoke and mirrors a lot of the time. Like
Yeah.
at repetition of shapes, like Mario, for example, the cloud is the same as the bush, but they just made it green and removed some of the spots and things.
Yep.
And it's just those little things that just make animation, I don't know, just full of Easter eggs, which is, it's just very cool. And making a sprite like this is, completely classic, but still the way forward. I mean, in full 3D and games design, things like that, it's everywhere.
There's loads of game design still done inside of Animate. Lots and lots of things that you find still done in Animate. Because you can work with a whole HTML5 JavaScript model, that's why you're still getting all of that. That's why people are using it to do those things. And there are entire things like Adobe Interactive Runtime, lots and lots of different support for lots and lots of different platforms, including electronic publishing, which we're going to come to. Right, the other thing I wanted to show, so Planet is going to exist. This movie is going to be 5 seconds long, so it's about time for me to start introducing some frames at relevant points. So Planet is just going to exist as it is. I was going to put a ring around it and make it look sort of jaunty so it wobbles. If we get the next bit done, because I've still got the treat bit for you, then we'll do that. I'm now going to lock that layer. Stars also, I'm going to drop a frame because that won't be changing. Okay, so that one's locked as well. Saucer, however, is going to change over time. So let's go ahead and add a keyframe for that, like so. Okay, and now I'm going to zoom my timeline so I can see all of those frames. There we go. I didn't need to zoom quite that much. But there we are. Now I can see all of the frames. So what's going to happen is our spaceship is going to come in from deep space over here, okay, at this point. So I'm going to click back to the first frame, actually. Let me just, we'll fix the other one in just a second. So I'm going to make this smaller, like so, holding down Shift to make that teeny weeny, like that, and then moving that into place. So it's going to come from out over here, okay, and then it's going to make its way to this point here. In fact, it's going to fly off the stage. So let's just pan across a little bit and move to there. There we go. So that's what's going to happen.
Just as a note of the time, we are at the top
of the hour. Yeah, we're all right. We're good. I can get this bit done and still do your treat. I'll tell you what I could do is I could just launch InDesign while I'm chatting just for a moment, or even have that launch in the background, because that way it's ready. Then we don't have to go through the whole launch. Oh, we're doing space things, and we're talking about launch sequences.
On May the 4th, yeah.
Oh no.
Or as there was quite a few different translations of that in the chat, actually. Let me scroll up and find them. It's May the mass times acceleration be with you.
I did the Kessel run in 4 parsecs this morning.
May the derivative of momentum be with you.
Excellent. Actually, I'm going to rotate that. I am going to rotate it that way. It looks more fun. Right. So if I just did a straightforward tween just here, so let's go ahead and do a classic tween. You notice I've done only classic tweens in this particular one. That might change in the next segment. So, of course, that's working like that. There you go. Another advantage of having that semi-transparent
Yeah,
thing, because
completely
it
forgot that that
works.
was translucent.
Yeah, now you get a
Great.
sense of the
Yeah.
whole, of there actually being something to it. Yeah, so that's going to work. However, to quote the hovering art director, I like it, I don't love it. Because it's too straight. Now, I could make my way along here and add in other keyframes to do that, but I'm not going to do that. And it's just occurred to me, I haven't done this in absolutely ages. So hopefully,
Yep.
hopefully we'll all be good. Right, I'm going to add a new layer at the top of this stack. I'm then going to draw a line like so. Okay, let's try something like that. There we go, nice straight line. I've made that very, very easy to see. And then I'm going to bend some things around here. I'm going to try and connect that. So did you see that jump at this particular point? If I move slowly, you'll see it. That's because it's recognizing the registration point of that object.
Okay.
Which is kind of odd, because I thought I'd registered it at the bottom of the object. But anyway, that's something I can move if I want to. I'm going to go to the other end of the timeline, pan across a little bit, get hold of this end of the stroke. Oh, there it is. Yes, it is snapping to the registration point just there. Let me just go back here, just in case there's something I'm missing. I keep going to swipe outwards, and Animate doesn't support that at the moment. Aha. I think we're right there. There we are. Perfect. Okay. So now I'm going to bend this line like so. I think
Do we
that
want
would be fun.
to actually? I was going to say cover the planet, but then the scale is going to show that translucency.
It is, yeah. It's I mean, I could. Let me just undo it. Let's get back to where we were. It's great. Undo's a groovy. Let's go a bit more like that. That'll be interesting. There we are. So now we're going to get something like that. However, it's going to do nothing to anything at the minute until I right-click it and turn it into a guide. Okay, but it's still not going to do anything. Right. It's still going to go linear there, because what I need to do is I need to bring the saucer layer in. That shouldn't be locked. Let me just unlock it. No, it wasn't locked. Ah, it is now nested. Oh, right, it's locked now because it has nested with it. Oh, I thought it had. There we go. Let's try again. Weird. I'm going to remove the motion tween. We'll just try that one more time. This is, I really haven't done this in a while. Let's try again. Unlock that. And add the tween back in. Said the thing. I think I know why.
Not quite connected.
Possibly not. Let's just look for... It should be around about there. Oh, no, it is connected because it's... But it's still not working with it. That is very strange. Let's bring that out a level.
This is where I wish I was familiar with it to know.
Oh, well, you know.
But, yeah. These things happen.
I'm going to bring it up over the top. Bring that back up over the top.
Would it help if you disabled the stage background color? You could.
I mean, I'd be able to see more. Ah, hang on. I've got it. I can now see it. I could see it just there. Do you know what? Changing the stage color is probably a good idea. just for the minute. Making sure I'm back at the right place and that nothing is selected, so I can bend this around.
A little bit more to the right, between the blue and the red.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but it doesn't want to, just does not want to connect to it. Oh man, that's annoying. Of course, it's only going to do this while you're live. I'm making absolutely sure that is on its own doohickey. I'm just cheating with it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That should be all it should need is that. What I'm going to do is remove that line just for a moment. Right, so I've got my guide layer. I've got that. I'm going to draw a new line. Oh, okay, so now it's snapping to it. Let's make sure it's following it. No. Da, 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 da.
It's not speaking the same language today.
It is not. Yeah. Ah, there's the connector. Just there. So, okay, the connector for some reason is in the middle. That's connected. There we go.
There we go.
Hurrah. Let's bring us up. No, we can't that way. I need to bend the line around. But do you know what? We'll go with that so that you can see it. There we are. Let's do that. And now...
There we go.
We've got it.
It's all in the registration.
It is absolutely all in the registration. I'm going to try and break it still, though, because I want it to come from over here. Let's take that back to the beginning. That's the other thing. I can walk it along the path, which you just saw happening there. There we go. Something else I could do if I wanted to is actually orient the object to the path as well. So it's entirely possible for me to do that if I want. Right, so I can select it, and there is a command here to orient to path, and so it will change the direction of the shape as it goes. Can you see that?
Could you also change it so that it scales from small to big back to small, as if it's coming?
Oh yeah, you could do that. Yeah, you just need to add in another keyframe in the middle section there. So let's return the stage now back to its original color, and we'll do Command 2 so we can see the whole thing. Let's do a quick. Oh man, I worked all that time and I didn't save. Ooh.
Wow.
But you know, Animate is so stable.
Point proven. Yeah.
There we go. So the main point I wanted to get across there was to use masks, yeah, and guide layers, and of course all the other drawing goodness as well. So now Joe time. We're perfectly good. 20 minutes should be fine.
Okay.
So
InDesign magic, I hope.
Oh, InDesign magic. Let me just go across to InDesign. Let's get rid of everything that's there. Let's go and create a new file. I am going to... It does annoy me that it says web, but anyway, there are other things to be worried about in the world. Let's do 1024 by 768. 1280, 800. I like that size. I'm going to go with that. So I'm going to do an electronic publishing document. Obviously not going to build an entire document here, but a thing anyway. Do you know what I could do while we're in InDesign? Is I could create a text frame. It is AM, isn't it?
That's correct. Yeah.
I had a sudden thought then. Hang on a minute. That is just fine. Oh, it really bugs me that I can't scroll over things to change the size. It just bugs me. I'm going to use the arrow keys. I also want to change that variant in there. Let's go bold. Yes. Let's do some optical kerning. That will fix that. Very, very good. Got that text just there. And I think I will also... yeah, I'm going to outline that. Then I should be able to convert this to a frame, which is probably an object. Can't remember where that is just for a second. Convert shape. No. There should be a command for me to convert that to a frame. Can't think of it. I'll leave it be just for the time being.
Is it in the help?
No, that will take you to the help X on the website. That'll be like a whole load of things. But I should have a command. It's because I feel like I'm thinking in another language. I'm thinking in Animate, okay, and not in InDesign. And my brain's just like going, I don't know what you want. I just wanted to, let's have a quick look through that. Oh man, I'm glad you can tell I don't manage an InDesign user group anymore from there, but I'm sure. I'm sure it should have been in this set just here, but not seeing it. Anyway, I'm not going to worry too much. I just thought it would be kind of cute if we filled this with one of your images. And convert clipping path to frame. That would have worked. Anyway,
would you need to create outlines on it first?
It actually already is outlines.
I see.
But if I do that, it's because it's a compound path. What I guess I could do is release the compound path, which is somewhere in there. Anyway, I don't want to waste any more time on doing that for the minute. It was a cute thing to do, right? But not going to work terribly well. So we'll just go ahead and just fill that with a gradient. There we are, or a solid color, or a gradient. There we are. Right. So we've got our document just there, and then we're going to go back to Animate because that's where we belong. We're going to close up this document. We're going to create a new one, and I'm going to change this to 1280 by 800, like so. I'm going to drop this down to 15 here and hit create. Goody. Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a very, very simple animation to show you the goodness of this. This you will like, I am sure. We're going to make a camera-like object. Do you know what? To do that, I'm actually going to use a shape primitive, which is so these are regular shapes. Shape primitives are like special groups. So I'm just going to go ahead and create my initial primitive like so. Okay, then I can go ahead and with my selection tool, I can drag the corners in like that. Not the most visible widget in the world. I do like the dot widgets inside of Illustrator. You know, you can't have it all, as they say. Let's just go ahead and create another one of those. Scale it down.
Just to add into our testing of background noise being lost in the airwaves.
Yeah.
I think there's a festival that's just started up out the window. Or someone doing some audio test of some sort. I'm assuming you can't hear it.
No, can't hear it. No,
amazing.
Can't hear it at all. I'm going to select both of those things and Command B, that would be Control B on Windows, to break them apart. Then I can get into all of the stuff that I want just there, because I just want that shape. Goody. I might just group that for a minute. I might ungroup it again in a second, but I'll group it just for now. Let's go to the oval tool and create a shape like this and create another shape like this. This one, I'm going to select and group that. You'll see why in a minute. So I'm going to group this one as well and change the color of it. Unfortunately, I should have done that before I grouped it really. Get back to my selection. I should be able to do that from here actually. There we go. No. Right, try again. This time with feeling. Doesn't need to be any particular color. Right. The reason is because when you're creating let me show you, Joe, because you didn't see the last thing. So these are regular shapes like so. First one and second one. All right. So if I wanted to align this, I'll just change the color for a second. Like so. Let's bring it down so it's close enough there. I don't need the strokes, I can just get rid of those. Let's say I selected both of these things, so they're both regular shapes, and chose my alignment controls here. Okay, and the first thing I did was click Align Center, like that. Okay, now I'm just going to click away from it for a second, because what actually happens is it automatically cuts itself out of there, because this is based on the old techniques of cell animation. You would only see one layer no matter what was going on underneath, right? So it would, and that's where Live Paint came from, that sort of thinking. So here I've grouped both of these things, so now I can align them however I want. So I can just pick them up like so and align both things like that. Then if I have them both, I can ungroup them. Click on that, and away it goes.
I see.
Like that.
So you've got, again, flexibility.
Flexibility, max flexibility, which is actually my rapper name. But, but there you go. Right, so I'm dealing with the stroke. I'm so sorry, everyone. Right, everyone ever. I'm so sorry that my jokes are so corny. 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2 even. To get that. Now this is another time where perhaps grouping would be a good idea, and we'll align those to the center because it makes sense. The other way maybe not so much. I'm just going to double click there because I want those strokes to be a bit chunkier than they currently are. There we go. That works. Now I can ungroup this. Okay, now you might be wondering where it's gone. Right, it's actually underneath this group because groups have priority over regular shapes. Okay. So I'm just going to undo that because what I should do is ungroup the background first so that the group sits on top of it. So Shift Command G, Shift Control G to ungroup that. The color here doesn't really have any bearing on anything at all. Yeah. But I could, if I wanted to, knock out these strokes, or at least so you'd think. Strokes have priorities over fills. That's how you can use them to cut things. So if I did want this to actually cut itself out, or these two to cut themselves out from the background, what I would need to do is to outline both of them. So I'd need to go to Shape, Convert Lines to Fills. That changes their behavior. Then when I do that and delete both, you can see they're now gone. If I just take, whoops-a-daisy, if I just grab all of that stuff and take it over this way, you can now see the background through it, which is handy, I think. Right, let's get so we can see the whole thing. So this is going to be a symbol as well. So we're going to F8 that one. We'll call this cam. Like so. And we're going to create another little symbol just here. So we'll just use an ellipse for that. Goodie. And this is one that's also going to be another symbol. Okay, it's going to be a movie clip also. And this will be called Rec. Let's double click on that. Now I do want to recenter that. I keep forgetting about clicking that thing just there. It's aligned to stage vertically. So this will be red. This is going to be real old school style animations. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to, what am I at? 15 frames a second, aren't I? So I'll actually go for, well, I'll go for the half second, just there. F6, create a new keyframe, and then I'm going to make the color of this. Oops, I'm accidentally right clicking. Make the color of this much, much darker, like so. And then I'll go to 29 here, F5. I'm going to copy. Well, in fact, I don't really need them. That is everything I need, just there. I was going to copy those frames and then paste them onwards, but then I suddenly regained my sanity and just thought, actually, I don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Go back to the stage, the main stage, as it were. Did you ever go to Pilton when you lived down that way?
I've been for Glastonbury Festival multiple times, and I've driven through it in non-festival times.
Cool.
I've never been into the sort of village as such, or hamlet even. It's very small, isn't it?
It is very, very small.
Yeah.
Yeah. I met Michael Levis one time, and he, man, that guy, he's got hands like shovels. I was watching him talk, actually. It was at Wells Chamber of Commerce, and he was chatting away, and I went up to him to talk to him afterwards, and he just offered out your hand, as you do, and this just enormous hand clasped. It's like a Wookiee. It's Star Wars terminology again for today. Oh my word, honestly.
Wow, proper tradesman hands, I guess, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Right, symbols, by the way, also have priority over regular fills. So now I'm back into the whole thing. Just here, we've got that whole movie clip going on. Let's go ahead and add a modern motion tween. Why has something suddenly jumped out onto another layer? What is in that layer? Oh, there's a... Ooh, now there's a gotcha. Did you see that? If I change the colour of it, then... if I change the colour of the stage, everybody will see that. So there was a bit of a remnant of something else. And you might have noticed that in the operation here, so let me just change the stage colour back, it immediately created a new layer because it thought, hang on, Tony, you've got two things on that layer. And I don't like two things on a layer when I'm going to animate stuff. One thing animated on one layer at one time. And so it was much more forgiving than it used to be with that. So classic motion tween, I am going to take this out to 75. So it's like half it's 5 seconds long, basically, just here. Then I can just move the playhead to different places. So I think we'll start small, like so. I'm keeping an eye on the time. I'm aware that I have 7 minutes.
Yep.
Just resizing that. Okay, I'm going to take this off of the stage. I am then going to move the playhead along a bit. Move this on. There's no keyframing stuff goes on there. Like that. You see, automatically it will tween what's going on there. Now, at any point, if I want to keep a state change, I can insert a keyframe and determine what gets copied across with it, because you might want just the position to remain the same, but the scale to be different. But I'm going to say all just here. Let's move along a little bit. So this is you. This is meant to be a graphic representation, Joe, of you, just going along as you do, taking pictures and doing stuff, or recording, just to make that perfectly clear. There we go.
Well, it's just taking more pictures at once.
Yes. 'Tis. Yes, taking like however many pictures a second you've determined your camera is going to work at.
Before it overheats.
Before it overheats. We were having that discussion in the green room just a short while ago. We were talking about that, because your little safety mechanism of So let's just play that out. Let's just hit enter on the keyboard. No, I didn't bother pausing for that one. It just carries on, but you get the idea. Right,
Yeah.
so there it paused for that particular shot. I mean, there's nothing to stop me from actually reintroducing that. So if I've got it, so it pauses there and then it moves on to the next thing. Yeah, there's nothing at all to stop me from just going ahead and taking that keyframe and copying it across. So I could do that, copy frames just there. I could move along and paste frames also if I wanted to. So let's just do paste frames. Oh, I did that as I've changed it to thing. So actually, no, I should have just copied the keyframe or across. Anyway, I digress. Keep forgetting, not in a classic tween. Right, anyway, we've got those things just there. All good. Right, so what I'm going to do here this time, we do have various export options. So we can export this as an image. We can export it as an image like it used to be exported. We can export a movie.
Okay.
And then we can export video/media. There is a distinction between the two. When it says movie, it means like an Animate movie, like an SWF, which no longer makes sense now that it's called Animate. But anyway, that is the file type or MIME type that it has. Export video/media is exactly what export video/media sounds like. Export animated GIFs. So this is a great place to make your GIFs, export the scene as an asset. However, we don't want any of those things. These are not the export options you are looking for. No, no, no. What you're actually looking for is the publish settings in this particular instance. Okay, and here, down here, I have this option for OAM package. Okay, so this is going to drop us into an HTML wrapper. I should have actually changed the thing over to something else, but anyway, that's just fine. This should be just fine. So I'm going to call this cam trip, like so. Okay, and everything else there is just fine. That's just good. We'll just say transparent just for the poster image that it generates. Well then, oh, did I tell it where to go? No, because I haven't saved my document. So it just sort of says, yeah, I'll do whatever.
Just save it.
Need to save it first. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Now we'll go back to publish settings. Cam trip is just fine for now. I'll hit publish. Go. Whenever you're ready, publish. I don't think I can turn flash off in there. No, it's going to do it anyway. And that should be okay.
It's saying your cam trip is still unsaved or has changes.
Is it?
A little asterisk in your file name.
Oh yeah, but that's from there. So something may have
I see.
happened. Let's find out. There's a quick way to find out. And that's to go here and choose, oh, there you go, camtrip.oam. So this will work in Dreamweaver and inside of InDesign. There aren't really any import options. You can check that box if you want to, right? But it's not going to do a lot for you. Then that will come in like so. Okay, that's the poster that I've got just there.
Okay.
It was off stage, so it's going to be difficult to gauge where it is, and also we can't preview it in the layout. For that, we need a special panel. We need to go to interactive and EPUB interactivity preview. This is warning me that there's flash content in there. So what I would have to actually do, right? What I would have to actually do is change the document type from ActionScript, and then that would work on top. As we have only 1 minute, what I'm going to do instead is bring in just another OAM file, just so you can see this work. Because if it says HTML5 JavaScript in the publish settings, then you're all good. Right, let's just go ahead and bring in this extraordinarily large thumbnail. Just here, we'll go back to the window menu, interactive, EPUB interactivity preview, and there you go. You can see that working.
Okay. Yep.
Just there. Let me just double click that and get that down to here. We should then be able to see. This one might not have been transparent actually, so it probably, yeah, would not show your name through it. But And also it's too big because I know that one happens to be 1080p.
Mm.
But anyway, there you go. So you can do all of that groovy animation inside of Animate. You can change the file type of an Animate file. So if you go to the document just here, you can change it change its settings to be a different kind of document. So it will work like that. And then you can export it and it will work. Super good. There you go.
Perfect.
We are at time.
Multiple options. My question though is, if you're making an InDesign document with some animation, what happens when you print it?
Yeah, but you would just get the thumbnail. That's where the thumbnail part comes in. That's why there's a poster.
Yeah.
So you would get.
I was just thinking, like, printers coming out, and then you could film that, animate that, and then you've got, your own little creative project happening.
Yeah, no. When you get to this particular point here, and if I just select that package, the option you get here is to generate the poster image, because it has to have something to show you, how it is. And the assumption inside of InDesign, by the way, is that all interactive documents are landscape.
Okay.
So that's why if I had a portrait document inside of InDesign, then it's not going to do that much.
That's a good tip to know, I think.
There you
some
are.
headaches. Yeah.
Well, that's it, my friend.
Tony, this has been brilliant and always enjoyable, entertaining along the way.
I've enjoyed it too.
It's been great to see Animate and test some things from very beginner level through to some other stuff into publishing with InDesign.
Yep.
So all sorts of options there. That's about time for today and for this week of the regular Adobe Lives.
Yeah.
But as mentioned, we have some extra streams coming up from off. So those will be, I believe, a couple of hours later than usual. I was chatting with Tim last week, and he's very excited about having sort of later hours into things. I think, like me, he's a bit of a night owl. So so that's a good thing.
I think they're quite long though. They're quite long.
Yeah, and plenty of them. So all sorts of streams from off. So if you don't know of off, that's OFFF. The Creativity Conference in Barcelona. So yeah, looking forward to that. That'd be a lot of fun. And that's everything, I think, from my end. Anything from you, Tony?
No, we're all good, mate. We are all good. Enjoy the rest of your trip to in Thailand. Yeah. And everybody else, have a great time. Enjoy the stuff at off. You'll love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it.
All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. Catch you later.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye.